This will be my first YouTube video. Yeah, I have a short that's up. It's been up for months, but this will be my first real YouTube video. It's something that's been on my mind for a couple of days, but I'm a pretty busy person. But I have about 20 minutes, so we're gonna go in for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna give y'all a look inside my mind. We're gonna start this thing off right. My name is Shiloh, at least on YouTube. So my channel is called Shiloh Speaks. The name was inspired by Mr. Miracle, DC Comics' greatest escape artist. But Mr. Miracle was not always Shiloh Norman. In fact, Shiloh Norman is the protege of the original Mr. Miracle, Scott Free. However, Shiloh Norman is, as I am, a black man, and so that's why I've chosen to take that moniker. In the words of Shiloh Norman, I can escape anything. Where's that Scott Free? Regardless. On Instagram, I have a page actually, and it's called Disseminate Truth. Now, the page actually underwent a couple of changes in terms of name, not to mention layout. But originally, I think my name was Strategic Progress. Then I changed it to Indomitable Will. And I was like, man, people ain't never going to be able to spell these things. Strategic, probably. Indomitable, hell no. Now currently it's Disseminate Truth, which ain't no easier because Disseminate is spelled incorrectly. But regardless, that's my name on Instagram, and I'm sticking with it. Now, as I mentioned, the name of this video is, what are we calling this? The DNC, K. Harris, the church, and the truth. I'm going to take those four concepts and tie them together. So, what am I talking about, right? It's my understanding that the Democratic National Convention is going on right now in Chicago, Illinois. I'm not sure how long it is. I think it's 4 days. And I haven't been able to confirm this through research yet, but apparently the DNC is paying some people, they're tricking off money to get people into the arena, right? Tricking off. 20 stacks a piece. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever made 20 stacks in 4 days. So for 20 stacks, I would be tempted to go there and, run up a bag, get a couple dollars. I would be tempted. But when I really think it through, I'm not leaving my family behind. I got a newborn. And most of all, I don't want to be caught on camera compromising my beliefs. I don't want to be caught breathing compromising my beliefs. You understand? The money, I don't need it that bad. And it's just not worth it inherently to compromise what I believe in to get it back. That's like the stories about those females. Nothing against females. We all love females on this page. You understand? But that's like the story of those females that go to Dubai. And, there's the stories of a certain gentleman, that's what we're going to call them, gentlemen, who like to cop a squat and relieve themselves onto women at these parties. Relieve themselves. Squatting. Poop on them. You understand? And these women, they get paid $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 to go there and get degraded. And I personally can't see how that is, first of all, something that any person would enjoy doing. Like, to me, when I'm using the bathroom, that's a private matter. Like, my wife can sit in the bathroom with me and we'll talk, but that's my wife, you know what I'm saying? She's not sitting on my lap. There ain't no, pleasure I'm getting out of her being there. It's just the companionship. It's no, erotic thrill. I'm not getting aroused because she's there, but everybody's different. And apparently that's a thing, at least in the Middle East. These are the stories that I've heard. I haven't bothered to do the research. I'm not interested in doing it. Maybe I will one day, so I can verify and point people to a source and say, hey, this is, where I saw it. It's been confirmed, whatever. I guess the only way to really confirm it will be on video, and I sure as hell don't want to see that. But back to the DNC. When I heard the DNC was paying $20,000 to some people to show up, I'm just like, let me tell y'all what this reminds me of. And this is really the heart of the video, right? It reminds me of men with money tricking off on females to get a female's time, to get a female's attention. Listen, I remember the people I look up to, I admire, whose content I listen to. I haven't bought any of his courses yet, but I will. Is the Wall Street Trapper on IG, on Instagram, right? And I remember he had made a post a couple months ago. I forget what it was about. But what I said was something about him starting with like 1.5 million in an account or 1 million in an account, I think this January, and getting it up to like 4.5 million by like June or July, and something along those lines. And the fact that he's like, in the process of looking for a good woman, so he's doing the spiritual work. I really admired that about him. I really admired that about him. He shares great quality content. It's not all about the stock market. I've noticed an increasing move towards character development. That's very admirable. But, I commented, like, I've been broke most of my life. And yet I still was able to find myself a great woman. I'm average looking at best. That's what I believe. We're going to get that out there in the front. I'm average looking at best. You feel me? Not unattractive, but I'm average. I'm not a model. I don't think I could be a model. So to me, that makes me average, right? But I still managed to find a good woman. So what was the point in me commenting that? It was to say, like, hey, man, clearly money is important, but it's not everything. Character is what, like I said, I didn't say the quiet part out loud. I didn't say it at all. I suggested it. I inferred it, that character is what's most important, not money. Because like Dr. Eric Thomas says, if you're not careful, your talent will take you places that your character can't keep. And I know that very well. You understand? So that was my point, to both compliment my wife and say, hey, I low-key compliment myself, not necessarily, but to say, like, hey, money is important, but even though I've been broke most of my life, I still was able to find me a good woman who is an attractive woman at the same time. Not like she's like unattractive or anything, right? So back to the DNC, back to paying money, back to men who trick on women. I don't respect that stuff because I've been broke most of my life. So I couldn't rely on external factors, too heavy. You understand? I couldn't draw somebody in from my rims on my car, for the type of car I drive, or the clothes I drive. You know what I'm saying? I was never somebody who was like that socially noticeable. I wasn't. I'm not that guy. I'm just a regular guy, pretty smart, and that's pretty much, the long and short of it. I'm not gonna go into all my qualities, but there's nothing really amazing per se about me. Now, my wife believes I'm amazing, and I want her to believe I'm amazing, but there's nothing really extraordinary about me, right? So what I use to get next to people in my life is my words, is my personality, is my mind. And I always believed that if I can get in somebody's mind, it's a wrap. You'll come to me. If I can get inside your head, then you'll come to me. Easy as that, right? So I never had the means I never had, listen. I worked corporate America jobs for most of my life. Well, a good portion of my life, right? Before that, I did sales, I did security, I did customer service, food service. I did a bunch of BS, right? Now, I didn't start making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 till about 9 years ago. I didn't start making six figures a year until, about 4 or 5 years ago. You understand? So, and I'm 40. So these changes in my life, my ability to travel and to support an entire household by myself, having 10 and 12 and 15 and $18,000 months, that's a relatively new phenomenon for me. That's not something I've been doing for a very long time, because if I was doing it for a long time, I'd be in a very different position than I'm in right now. But when you know better, you do better, and then it still takes time to do better, because you got to clean up the mistakes from the choices you made when you didn't know better. But I digress. The DNC apparently is paying people to show up. That's weak. Why is it weak? Because here's the thing, right? And this is for all you Kamala Harris supporters out there. The truth does not need to be sold to anyone. I'm going to give you 2 examples, maybe 3. All right? So check this out. And I'm going to just preface this by saying, I went to my wife 2 or 3 nights ago, maybe 4, and I asked her. I said, hey, I'm thinking about making my first video for YouTube, and I want to make sure that I have your permission to share this story. I don't want to disrespect our marriage. So if it's not okay, if it makes you uncomfortable, you tell me and I won't share it. She told me that she was okay with me sharing this story, so I'm going to share it. It's not a low-key, let's be thirsty story. None of that. None of that. That's not what this is. Right? But early on, my wife was the smart one. She was a good woman. A good woman, and we didn't sleep together for the first 2.5 to 3 months that we knew each other. Why? Because she said so. That's what set her apart. That's what made her different. We took the time to get to know each other. We built a foundation. You understand? So that by the time that time came, we had more to fall back on. We actually got to know each other to a point. It wasn't just, physical intimacy, got hormones and, feelings going crazy. And now I gotta be around you. I wanted to be around her for more than just her body, and vice versa. But how do we even get to that point? Stay tuned. I'm gonna tell you, right? Stay right here. Listen. Here's what happened. The truth of the matter is, 1 month went by, 2 months went by, and I was getting frustrated. Why? Because I'm a man, a straight man who was attracted to at the time, she was just a woman I was seeing, right? And now she's my wife. And I was like, what the hell, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. We done went out once or twice. She came over a few times and still ain't got the goods. What's going on? Is it me? What's going on here? And I was like, all right, look, I gotta go. I gotta try something. I gotta go for the nuclear option. Nothing else is working, and there's nothing really extraordinary about me. Right. Let me go for the nuclear option. So what did I do, right? One day we were sitting out on my bed, side of the bed. I was like, let me show you some pictures. Pictures of me. I don't think you ever seen them, right? Flipping through pictures I took in my gallery. Flip past one. Slide past another, slide past one more. Oh, in the 4th picture, there's a picture of me in a pair of red boxers. So I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. And I slide past the picture slowly, just so she has enough time to see it. A couple weeks later, you already know what went down. All right? You already know. She kept coming back. But here's the thing, right? What's my point in all this? I didn't need to sit there and give her a whole lecture. I didn't need to trick off on her. I didn't need to be like, I'll take you shopping. I didn't have no money to take her shopping. I mean, I at the time, actually, I did, but, you know, I wasn't stable the way I'm stable now, not by a long shot, right? You know, I don't have to be like, oh, listen, girl, sleep with me. Listen, you're gonna be seeing the sun, the moon, the stars, the whole Milky Way. No, I didn't need to talk out my ass. I didn't need to say none of that stuff. You know, I didn't need to do any. I didn't need to send no nude pictures. All I needed to do was make a suggestion. What did Leonardo DiCaprio say in one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Inception? He asked the woman, what is the most, Ariadne, he said, Ariadne, what is the most powerful virus in the world? The most powerful virus in the world is an idea. It's an idea. So all I needed to do was plant an idea in her head. This is what you want. You see this right here? This is where you want to be. You want to spend time with this guy. We got a 1-year-old son right now, so I mean, we've been together 13 years. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You understand? I don't need to go hard. I don't need to. All I need to do is get inside your head, and it's a wrap. So this is why I don't respect people like Rickey Smiley and Steve Harvey caping and thumping and crying and doing this bitch bullshit on the radio and the camera and cooning. Steve Harvey, I'm talking to you with your $300 million net worth self. Nobody respects you and Roland Martin and Rickey Smiley and D.L Hughley cooning and kissing ass for the Democrats. Nobody respects that. Because you guys are already rich and you're trying to Pied Piper and sell the rest of us a pipe dream and sell us down the river. Us being black people, black men and women, selling us for votes, our votes to the Democratic Party so they can maintain power when they haven't done nothing but try to purposely break up, try and successfully break up our communities and families in the past. And they continue. And now their latest move is giving tax dollars to immigrants after they flooded the border with them, giving tax dollars to immigrants while selling us, quote unquote, the idea of hope. Let me tell you something about hope. Hope is nothing without opportunities. We'll get back to that in a second, right? Damn, I was supposed to stop by my mother's house, pick up my mail, and we spin around in bed. Hope is nothing without opportunities. But we'll get back to that in a second, right? I told you I'd give you 2, maybe 3 examples of, what was I going to say? Give you 2, well, here's the thing, right? Check this out. Why don't I need to sell somebody on something, right? Let me quote the great Biggie Smalls for a minute. Some say this X, make the sex spectacular. Maybe lick you from your neck to your back and your shivering, tongue delivering, chills up that spine. That ass is mine. And then let me take it down a few more bars, right? He was like, you beg for me to stop because you know where it would head, straight to your mother's bed. What's the key word here? Word is no. See, there's a big difference between hoping something and knowing something. I ain't gotta hope, you understand, that I go home and my wife smells good. She always smells good. I ain't gotta hope, you know what I'm saying, when we go out that she's gonna look good. She always looks good when we go out. You understand? And she continues to look better as time goes by. This ain't no simp shit, this is just the facts. Alright? There's things that my wife ain't got to hope for when it comes to me. She knows is going to happen. Why? Because it's happened before. She ain't got to hope. She knows that, like Thanos said, I am inevitable. I'm inevitable. Because if I wasn't, she wouldn't still be here. I know some of y'all are like, chill, Andrew, chill. Not everything, chill, bro. Not everything's about sex. Yeah, it is. In this fucking world, don't lie. Don't come on here lying to yourself, trying to lie to me. Yeah, it is. Everything is about sex. Or at least it could be made to be, right? But moving on, right? So, some say the X make the sex spectacular. Make me lick you from your neck to your back and your shivering, tongue delivering, chills up that spine. That ass is mine. It's not, I hope that ass is mine. I pray that ass is mine. I think that ass is mine. It's the confidence in that statement. Chills up that spine. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. If I got this outlet and I bought these outlet covers to go into this outlet, I know that this outlet cover is going to fit this outlet because it was designed for that. It's just the certainty of knowing something makes it so that you don't need to sell somebody on anything. You don't need to whoop and holler and stomp and cry and make all these kind of arguments. Listen, on my page, Disseminate Truth, on Instagram, it's disseminate_truth actually, right? I don't have to sell nobody on nothing. And I'm a published author. I published my first book in January of last year, right? I don't need to go and do a crap load of advertising, and I've done some advertising, right? I don't need to do a ton of interviews, and I've done a couple interviews, right? But I don't need to do a ridiculous amount of content, arguing and pushing my point, trying to convince people, my industry is the place to be. Listen, I got into it 9 years ago, and I'm so grateful that I did. The truth doesn't need to be sold. And this is one of my biggest problems with the church. And I'm going to say the black church because that's what I have the most experience with as a black man. My problem with the black church is that there's so many people trying to, especially the older generation, they don't realize that the harder you push and try to sell me and try to save my soul, the more I'm going to resist because I don't trust you. I don't believe you. You need more people. I don't believe you. You understand? You're not the one. I just don't like. I watched The Matrix for the first time with my 15-year-old last night, and I'm so glad that he didn't understand. He wasn't sure watching the movie until the end. He was like, we were like maybe about 80% of the way through the movie. He was like, so wait, is Neo the one or not? And I'm like, yes, he's paying attention. Because he doesn't know. He's not sure. So I quoted the oracle to him in the movie. I didn't answer his question directly. Because I want him to use his brain. I want him to think. I want him to use critical thinking skills. I want him to pay attention to get the messages in the movie. That's why we were watching the movie. Not so that, he could get the thrills of seeing the, gunshots fired and, listen to cursing and all that stuff. No. My goal was for you to get the lessons in this movie because he's a smart 15-year-old. I want him to get the lesson, to retain the lessons, because one day, like I told him, I won't be here. I'll be dust and bones, and all you will have left is the memories I left you with, the experience I left you with, and the life lessons, and I need you to take the lessons to make your life better. And I said, this is one of the most important movies you're going to watch, right? So, I quoted the oracle to my son, and I said to him, being the one is like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love. You just know it through and through. Now, if I was 15, I'd be like, oh, gosh, what the heck with these quotes? Can't you just answer my question? I did answer the question. I just didn't answer it quickly. Being the one, telling the truth, it doesn't need to be sold. You just know it's the truth. And this is why I know my book is excellent. It's got a 5-star. It's my first book. It's got a 5-star rating on Amazon. I don't need to go around telling people how great my book is. I walked around for over a year with these shirts my wife bought me. The shirts are called, they say, I'm a published author, ask me about my book. That's what the shirts, I got two of them, a blue one and a gray one. I love those shirts. And here's the thing, right? I've only had maybe less than 5 people in a year ask me about that shirt. Sometimes I forget I'm wearing it. Most people they see me with the shirt and they look extra hard away. They walk past me or drive past me with mild neglect, just looking everywhere but at me. And it's not breaking my heart because I don't rely on the book sales to pay my bills. I know my book is excellent because I spent months on it, rewriting and refining and getting review after paying for review after review, sending it through multiple rounds of editing. I know my book is excellent. I've gotten friends to review it. I've gotten people I don't know to review it, and always the feedback has been the same. Rave reviews. It's less than 100 pages. I don't need people to tell me how great it is because I know for myself. I've sold copies, the 5-star review, I didn't pay for that. Somebody did that of their own free will. I don't need to sell anybody on that, right? I would like to, but I don't need to. Been adjusting for 9 years. I've been an insurance adjuster for 9 years. Listen, I've gotten letters written by friends who I have helped get into the industry. One of them I helped him get into the industry this year. We worked together last year. He hit me up. He was like, yo, man, the company I've been at, I don't like how it's going. Can you help me get into adjusting? I gave him the game. Listen, this guy went to Texas in like July and made more in a week than I typically make in a month. See how they fly when you teach them the things that matter. This is why my name on Instagram is Disseminate Truth. I've got 30 plus days of content on insurance information, mostly property insurance and life insurance. I don't need to go around advertising it or bragging about it. I've had people review my page who I've brought in to say, hey, I'd like to make my page profitable. I'd like to make it a more noticeable page or more visible page on Instagram. And the people who have reviewed my page, it's been like 2 or 3 of them that said, you are clearly a SME, a subject matter expert. You're clearly a subject matter expert, So, this is what it's going to take for me to take you to the next level. I didn't want to pay $10,000 to $12,000. So, I'm just holding off on those quotes. I'll get back to them some other time. But again, I don't need to sell nobody on anything because all I had to do was train in my subject, study it, become an expert at it, and I'm so knowledgeable in my areas of expertise now, which is property insurance. I can quote it easily, and that's how I was able to create 30 plus days of content for Instagram. And I just leave it up there. I just put it out there, and just like that picture I showed my wife while sliding through my camera phone, I let it be. I put the idea out there and I let it go. I don't need to sell anybody on anything. And this is why it upsets me so much that people like Rickey Smiley are out here stomping and crying for Kamala. Because not only is that weakness and non-masculine, you are clearly lying to people. You are trying to push a narrative. You're trying to sell something. And we're not buying it because it's not true. Donald Trump doesn't have to do all these different things. Has he got celebrities to endorse him in the past? Absolutely. Yes, of course he has. Of course the Trump campaign has done that. Did I vote for Trump the first time around? No, I didn't. Did I think he would be good for the country the first time around? No, I didn't. And it turns out he was very good for the economy. The Democrats are awful for the economy. And these are facts. These are facts. I've paid more in taxes. The worst things have happened under the under the last 2 Democratic reigns in America than, pretty much anything I can think of from the pandemic, And how that's been handled, trying to force people to take the jab and so on and so forth, and firing people because they wouldn't take the jab. I'm an independent contractor, so I didn't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? I operate in the gray. You know, I'm off the grid, so that wasn't one of my problems, right? And then Obama, the assassination of Gaddafi. I ain't never gonna forget that, because that happened on his watch. Hillary Clinton, she green-lighted that. But I just needed to draw these differences, because it's important people understand, like, there's a reason why there's such a divide in at least the black community between the people who are voting for Kamala and the people who aren't. I haven't heard a single person give reasons why they're voting for Kamala Harris. No one. No. It's always come back to how Trump makes them feel, what they're afraid of, what Trump might do or who he might become. It's not, this is what Kamala has done. And before you say that HBCU crap, here's the thing. Most black people don't go to HBCUs. We don't care about funding, and a lot of HBCUs are in terrible condition because the money doesn't go towards caring for the schools. It goes to the people who run the schools, and they break that money up however they want. You understand? So that's why funding HBCUs is meaningless. It's like, funding churches. The churches ain't doing nothing to free and uplift, by and large, at large, the black mind and the black economic status. My book does more. I would bet $10,000 that my book can and has done more for black people than the black churches that these black people may have been to in their lives. I would put money on that, because I 100% believe it to be true. And that's the difference between the people who are voting for Kamala Harris in 2024 and the people who aren't. The people who are voting for Kamala Harris are voting based on their feelings, a fear of Donald Trump, or identity politics, or they're part of the alphabet community and they believe that Kamala, is going to do great things for the alphabet community moving forward. I can't identify with those things. I'm a straight, free-thinking black man, and that's why I published my book. That's why I'm the leader of my household. That's why I'm the father of 3 sons. That's why I'm a husband to my wife, 6 years this October. You understand? I can't get behind somebody who's got to push so hard, who's got to get people to go out there and stomp and chill for them, who's got some people on there crying. Nobody's crying about my book. Nobody's crying about, the opportunities that I made available in a $20 book. Hell, you can get on Amazon for cheaper than that. I've given copies of my book away. You understand? That's how passionate I am about getting the truth out there. And that book cost me $8,000 to produce. I haven't made that money back yet. But what's important to me is freeing the minds of people, telling the truth. Because listen, at one point I was somebody who was struggling on 30 grand a year, and this is before the pandemic. This is when I was able to rent a house. My wife and I was able to rent a house, 2-bedroom house, 2 stories with an unfinished basement for $1,250 a month. I'm talking literally up the street from where I'm at right now, where I'm sitting right now. That house was sold, and the owner wanted to sell it to us, but listen, I wasn't able to get my credit in position at the time the way I wanted to. I wasn't able to. I had just started in the adjusting industry. I had no idea how far I would go, how far I'd be able to take it, and I would scale up to $10,000, $12,000, and $15,000 months. I had no idea. None. But it happened. Right? So, we're going to close this up by saying one thing. The truth, once again, doesn't need to be sold to anyone. We'll put it down there, and What's that thing Alec Baldwin said in Glengarry Close, right? He said, the money's out there. You pick it up, great. If you don't, I got no sympathy for you. It's the same with the truth. If people want to vote for their own destruction and downfall, go for it. Knock yourself out. Kamala Harris is the enemy of every straight, free-thinking man out there, especially the black ones. That is my belief, and I stand on that. She talks a bunch of gibberish out the side of her head, and that's before you take into account the fact that she's terrible at interviews and the fact she slept her way into politics. You understand? And here's the thing about blackness. Blackness is an idea. It's a social construct, right? It's a otherness created by the more powerful racial groups in America, right? But that being said, Kamala Harris is not and has never been just because she's never been black. She went to, a lot of people went to an HBCU. Listen, Nehemiah Davis used to be from Philly, now he's in Atlanta. Shout out to the great Neil the Great, that's what I call him, right? He had this Asian guy who was a DJ at one point on his podcast in the last 2 weeks. The guy said, this Asian dude said, hey, I used to go to HBCU. Just because the homie went to a HBCU, does that make him a black American? No, it does not. You can attend wherever you like, you know what I'm saying? But as soon as you leave that place, you regardless, you could be sitting out on the toilet in that place. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It just matters who you inherently are. And his identity is not as a black American, just like Kamala's identity is not as a black American. She has flip-flopped back and forth in the past and said, I'm a black American, I'm Indian American. Yes, but that's the thing. Can you really trust somebody who doesn't stand on one thing? I'm not here to convince you to make a decision one way or another. I'm just presenting the facts. I don't have... See, a vote for Kamala is a vote for my destruction. That's my belief, right? But even so, I'm not going to come on here and try to convince you to change your mind. I'm just going to present the truths the way it is and let the chips fall where they may. I don't need to try to sell anybody on anything because I know that the truth is the truth. And that's the difference between Rickey Smiley and Kamala Harris, who are so passionate, Rickey Smiley and Steve Harvey, and D.L Hughley, who are so passionate about getting people, and Roland Martin, who are so passionate about getting people to believe a certain narrative. They say the same thing over and over in the hopes that people will believe it. I don't need to push anything like that. I don't need to do it. I know what the truth is. I stand in my truth. I sleep in my truth, and I keep it moving. So, these are the facts. I know what I'm working with. I know what I'm packing. I don't need to go out there and broadcast it to nobody because once I get inside here, it's all over. I've got you. And soon, you'll have me. So, we're going to move on from that. Moving forward, I have about, 2 months worth of content that I've been writing on the low for my channel, but I just never got around to producing it. Being a parent full-time is a very busy job, very busy. It is exhausting. It's very taxing on your marriage. If you're married, I'm married, right? It's very taxing on your personal life. I haven't been to the gym regularly in months, like 8 months. I haven't been to the gym in like 8-9 months on a regular basis. We're talking since my son was like 3 months old. It's been very busy. It's been very hard to get my work turned in on time. It's been hard, But I have about 60 days worth of content, which I want to start rolling out, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I'm going on vacation next week, so I'm not going to promise that it'll be this week or next week, but in the next couple of weeks, I plan to roll out like 1 to 2 videos a week, hopefully about 15-20 minutes of video, right? And they're going to be on the life lessons that I believe every parent should teach their child. Things I've learned. And these will be things that it'll be like love letters to my son. So it'll all be G-rated. None of this stuff will be, won't be any cursing in it. And it'll be exclusive to YouTube. It won't be present on Instagram. I'm moving away from Instagram onto YouTube. My wife started a YouTube channel last year. She was nervous about it for over a year, and now she's got over 150 subscribers, and I'm so proud of her. So proud of her. She's a beautiful woman. I love her. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I gotta go pick up these packages and get back home to my wife and my sons. And I'll see y'all when I see you. If you got any comments, if you like what I had to say, drop a comment below. I'll see you around. Until then, I'm going to keep passing out that truth. Shiloh Speaks. Peace.